There are two women living in the same apartment complex in Atlanta. Same salary, $72,000 a year, same age, same student loan balance. One of them will retire at 58 with over $600,000 in investments and zero debt. The other will still be working at 67, wondering where 4 decades of paychecks actually went. The difference between them is not discipline, it is not willpower, it is not even income. The difference is a single financial rule that one of them discovered at 31 and the other never heard at all. That rule revolves around $15,000. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why that number has the power to quietly redirect the entire trajectory of your financial life. My name is Zik, and I have spent years studying the exposed nerve between what people earn and what people actually keep. And what I've found is that most financial advice skips the part that matters most. Everyone tells you to budget, everyone tells you to invest, but almost nobody tells you where the real leverage point sits. That leverage point, for most people, earning between $40,000 and $100,000 a year, is $15,000. Not because it is a magic number, but because of what it represents psychologically, mathematically, and structurally in the way your money behaves over time. Let me explain what I mean. Rule number 1. $15,000 is the threshold where money starts working instead of just existing. Most people have savings that function like a waiting room. The money sits there, it absorbs inflation, it occasionally gets rated for a car repair or a medical bill, and then it slowly rebuilds itself just in time to get rated again. This is the cycle that keeps millions of people feeling like they are running in place. But something shifts when your liquid savings cross the $15,000 mark. Below that number, your money is defensive. It exists to absorb shocks. Above that number, your money becomes offensive. It can start generating returns, funding opportunities, and creating options that were previously invisible to you. Think about it this way. If you have $3,000 saved and your transmission fails, that is a financial crisis. You might put the repair on a credit card, you might borrow from your family, you might skip a bill. But if you have $15,000 saved and your transmission fails, that is a Tuesday. You pay it, your account dips, and within 2 months you have rebuilt. The math did not change. The repair costs the same, but the psychological and structural impact is completely different. One scenario sends you into a debt spiral. The other barely registers. That gap is the entire game. Rule number 2. $15,000 is roughly 12% of the median household income, and that ratio is not accidental. Financial researchers have found that households maintaining liquid savings equal to roughly 10 to 15% of their annual gross income experience dramatically lower rates of financial stress, relationship conflict over money, and impulse-driven financial decisions. When your buffer sits below that range, your brain operates in what psychologists call scarcity mode. You make shorter-term decisions, you avoid looking at your accounts, you say yes to purchases that feel like relief because your nervous system is constantly scanning for the next threat, but when your buffer crosses into that range, something neurological happens. Your prefrontal cortex gets more involved in financial decisions instead of your amygdala. You start thinking in quarters and years instead of days and weekends. That shift does not require a raise, it requires a threshold. Rule number 3. The $15,000 rule is not about saving $15,000 once. It is about what happens after you protect it. Here is where most people get this wrong. They hear a number like 15,000 and they think the goal is to reach it, but the actual power is in what you do after you reach it and refuse to go below it. This is what I call a financial floor. You set $15,000 as your non-negotiable minimum. Your account can go above it. It should go above it. But it does not go below it unless your life is genuinely in danger. When you establish that floor, your behavior changes in ways you will not expect. You stop panic buying during sales because you do not feel the urgency of scarcity. You negotiate harder on salary because you are not terrified of losing your job. You say no to financial obligations that other people pressure you into because you have a cushion that gives you the confidence to protect your boundaries. Let me give you the math on what this actually looks like in motion. Say you earn $60,000 a year after taxes. That is $5,000 a month. You commit to saving $500 a month, which is 10%. In 30 months, you hit $15,000. That is 2.5 years. Not fast, not slow, just steady. Now, once you hit that floor, every dollar above $15,000 becomes investable. If you continue saving $500 a month and invest the surplus into a broad index fund averaging 8% annual returns, here is what happens. After 5 years, you have roughly $42,000. After 10 years, you are approaching $110,000. After 20 years, you are past $300,000. And none of that required a raise. None of it required a side hustle. None of it required you to eat rice and beans for a decade. It just required a floor and consistency above it. If this is helping you so far, take 2 seconds to hit the like button. It really helps the channel. Rule number 4. $15,000 changes your identity before it changes your net worth. This is the part nobody talks about. When you cross that threshold and hold it, something happens inside your self-concept. You stop identifying as someone who is broke. You stop flinching when a bill arrives. You start seeing yourself as someone who has money. And that identity shift is worth more than the dollars themselves because identity drives behavior far more reliably than motivation ever will. A person who identifies as financially stable makes different choices at the grocery store, at the car dealership, at the negotiating table, and in relationships. They do not make these choices because they are grinding through discipline. They make them because those choices feel natural to who they now believe they are. This is the invisible return on $15,000 that no compound interest calculator will ever show you. Rule number 5. The biggest threat to the $15,000 rule is lifestyle creep disguised as reward. You will hit this number, and when you do, something dangerous will whisper to you. It will say, you deserve something, a trip, a car upgrade, a wardrobe refresh, and you might absolutely deserve it. But if that reward pulls you below your floor, you have not rewarded yourself. You have reset yourself. You are back in scarcity mode. Back in amygdala-driven decisions. Back in the cycle. The people who build wealth are not the ones who never spend. They are the ones who never spend below their floor. That distinction sounds small. It is everything. Now here is what I want you to do this week. Not this year, this week. First, check your liquid savings right now. Not your retirement account, not your home equity, your actual accessible cash. Know your real number. Second, calculate what $15,000 represents as a percentage of your annual income. If you earn less than $50,000, your floor might be $10,000. If you earn more than $90,000, it might be $20,000. Adjust the principle to your life. The ratio matters more than the exact number. Third, set up an automatic transfer. Even if it is $100 a month, even if reaching your floor takes 3 years, the automation removes decision fatigue, and decision fatigue is where most savings plans die. Fourth, write your floor number somewhere you will see it daily, on a sticky note on your bathroom mirror, in the Notes app on your phone. This is not about motivation, it is about pattern reinforcement. Your brain needs to see the target repeatedly to internalize it as identity. And if you are actually getting something out of this, consider subscribing. I make videos like this every week that go deeper than surface level advice. Now, remember those 2 women in Atlanta I told you about at the beginning? The one who retires at 58 did not discover some secret investment or get lucky with a stock tip. She learned about the floor principle at 31, she set her number, she automated her savings, and she refused to dip below it for 27 years. That is it. No inheritance. No 6-figure salary, no crypto windfall, just a line in the sand and the quiet stubbornness to hold it. The other woman earned the same amount over the same period, but every time she accumulated a cushion, she spent it, not on reckless things, on reasonable things, a family vacation, a reliable car, a kitchen renovation. All justifiable, all logical, and all of them pull her below the threshold where money starts compounding instead of just circulating. The difference between those two outcomes is not about how much you make, it is about knowing the number where your money transitions from surviving to building. For most people, that number lives somewhere around $15,000, and now you know it. What you do with that knowledge, starting today, is entirely yours. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next video.